What's up, guys? It's your boy Libertarian here, and today we're gonna be looking at a video by Jimmy Talks, called "My Critique of Libertarianism," which I actually used to like Jimmy Talks. Okay, I used to watch this motherfucker on the bus on the way to school. Okay, so I used to like Jimmy Talks. I used to be a bit of a groipetard. Okay, I'm back. I still kind of like Tom Fo because I can actually respect what he says about Israel. That's really the main fucking shit I watch for him. But anyway, this video is very bad. It just demonstrates a lack of understanding of the libertarian ideology. He It's so bad. Sorry for burping there, but he acts as if all these things where it's like, oh yeah, dude, they want to use the state, libertarians want to use the state to enforce like fucking safe injection sites or whatever. It's like, yeah, dude, libertarians love the state, man. Like, holy shit. But let's just get into it.
So let's talk about libertarianism a little bit. On the surface, it sounds appealing, everything that they say, because they're talking about freedom and the Constitution, and taxation is theft. And everybody hates the IRS. You know, every time taxes, that kind of time in the season comes around, I fucking hate it. And I think everybody can also agree that the federal government is very bloated and it's just strangling this country. But when you actually look at libertarianism, we don't find allies as right-wingers. It's kind of just as destructive to the American nation and the Christian faith and our European heritage as anything coming out of the progressive left.
All right, so there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, libertarians are not constitutionalists. Libertarians believe that your rights are inherent, that they come from being people, that you have rights. They don't come from a fucking book. They don't come from a piece of paper. Some libertarians believe that rights come from God, like that they are God-given rights, or they believe that they're just inherent rights. They are human rights, right? So libertarians are not constitutionalists. Second off, your average libertarian, right? First off, libertarians are as destructive to the American nation as rather radical left. It's like, are you fucking retarded? Okay. First off. Also, you can be a Christian libertarian. Okay, that's literally like your average paleo libertarian is a Christian libertarian. Okay, so there's numerous libertarians that I know fucking personally that are devout fucking Orthodox and fucking Catholics. Okay, so the belief in that people should have the freedom to sin, which is a very core tenet, of at least my beliefs. That's why I'm a libertarian, is that I believe people should have the right to sin. Okay, I don't really like the fact that gay people are getting married, but they should have the right to do that. They should have the right to be sinful under a truly free society. And this guy, just remember, he says taxation is theft, is a core tenet of libertarianism. Just remember that. Keep that in the back of your mind. It'll come back to relevance numerous times.
In fact, in many ways, libertarians are just the useful idiots for the liberal regime. They are wolves in sheep's clothing who open the gates for the very tyranny that they claim to oppose, and I will tell you why.
Why Jimmy Talks is because, libertarians don't care about the heckin' faggots getting married. Like, are we serious, dude?
And before I even start, there's like 10% of libertarians that I like. The other 90% are just libtards in disguise. But anyways, the fundamental problem with libertarianism is that it treats human beings like interchangeable economic units, rather than spiritual beings with a culture and a history and a nature that requires order. So I'm pretty much going to be attacking libertarianism, and I fully expect to get some heat for this, but it is what it is. So I think that libertarians, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, operate on this childish notion that liberty is the only value that matters. But I'm going to be totally honest with you. Letting people do whatever they want is not civilization.
Okay, so keep in mind, libertarians are people who are some of the most for getting rid of the Fed. I think the Fed's the biggest one because the Fed allows for just unchecked fucking government spending. But the libertarians are the people who are most for basically just fucking getting rid of a centralized state, right? Of just decentralizing everything. They're in favor of gun rights. They're in favor of just rights, for everybody. And the right to self-determination, which includes white people too. It's like the topic of like Israel, I think, where people have the right to like establish their own communities or whatever. It's a very heated topic in South Africa at the moment, actually. They're just useful idiots for the left, bro. Like, they just love leftists. They just love leftists, even though the leftists advocate for some of the strongest fucking welfare. Yeah, but we're just like useful idiots for the left, bro, because we don't give a fuck if gay get married.
It's really stupid. Liberty without morality is just degeneracy. And that is the key facet that libertarians fail to grasp. When this country started, we had immense freedom. We had so much. We had liberty. But at the same time, 99% of the population was Christian. The cultural baseline was a shared European heritage with a shared moral framework. The founding fathers didn't create a government for a chaotic, atomized mob of atheistic consumers. Like, get excited for the next product so I can consume.
So, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, actually, what the fuck? Okay, so, first of all, who fucking cares what the founding fathers said, okay? I actually like a lot of the founding fathers, but who fucking cares, dude, okay? Founding fathers were hacking racist slave owners, guys. Oh, my voice is so shot, dude. But, who cares? Like, who actually fucking cares what the founding fathers think about this topic? Okay, the founding fathers don't understand our current example, right? But regardless, you're acting like libertarians is like this mob who like don't want any rules. Like, yeah, bro, libertarianism is when no rules. Like, you just probably genuinely learned what anarchism is and what libertarianism is from your fucking public school teaching.
John Adams also said this very plainly.
Honestly, who gives a fuck about what John Adams said, dude?
Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people.
I don't know where he's getting this idea that you can't be a Christian libertarian. It's just there are like numerous very prominent like Christian libertarians. I'm not even sure about Muslim libertarians because their ideology is kind of inherently anti-libertarian. But I don't know about that. I'm not too informed about that. But there's like numerous very, very famous fucking Christian libertarians.
If you give absolute freedom to a population that has no moral compass, you do not get a free society. You get an insane jungle. You get chaos. And eventually people will beg for a tyrant just to restore some semblance of order. You can disagree all you want, but that's just a fact. Take the drug issue. All right, let's talk about the libertarians' POV on drugs. This is where the libertarian brain rot is the most obvious because they want to decriminalize everything. And I'm not talking about marijuana, weed, there's an argument to be made there. I'm not even totally against weed. I don't like it personally, but there's an argument to be made for a legitimate medical use, like purpose. I don't like when people use it recreationally either, but let's be totally honest, it's not as damaging as like crack, okay? But it's stuff like meth and fentanyl and heroin. The libertarian argument is always, well, it's their body, buddy. It's their choice. If they die, it's just a Darwin Award. That is an absolutely retarded way to run a society. Let me ask you this. What is the purpose of the state?
To create monopolies and to enforce an anti-libertarian view, I guess. Like, the state, it should not be in existence. That's what most libertarians think. The state should be reduced to fucking atoms, that it's a piece of shit, right? So libertarians don't like the state. So talking about the state is fucking stupid.
What is the purpose of a government if it cannot do something as simple as keeping poison out of the hands of its own citizens?
First of all, part of the reason why people believe that decriminalizing drugs would work is because it would allow the state to regulate it. So, for example, where I live, St. Louis, there was a very big fentanyl problem here, right? And people who are doing coke, if coke was legal, hypothetically, then the government would be able to regulate they'd be able to get like the pure shit. They wouldn't have to get these from like these backyard fucking drug markets, right? And also, like, fent has like actual like uses, like it has actual medical uses. So does fucking coke, right? Well, they're not normally used for like their medical fucking purposes. Like meth is just used as like a fucking thing for like retards to consume. I think you are retarded if you do meth, right? But you should have the right to do meth. You know what I'm saying? You should have the right to be an idiot in my ideal society.
We are not isolated atoms floating in a void. That is not what humans are. We are a community. A junkie, for example, shooting up in a park is not just exercising his liberty or something. He is a blight on the neighborhood. He is a danger to children. He is a drain on the resources of the productive citizens. Now, I'm not calling for a return to the 1990s style war on drugs or what have you, but it is basic common sense. It's logic 101, actually, that you keep drugs made in some guy's bathtub or a sketchy lab in China or Mexico illegal.
First off, then fucking remove him. This guy's acting like libertarianism is just like, yeah, fucking tread on me, do whatever you want to me. Yeah, like fucking rape me, dude. That's not what libertarianism is, okay? Libertarianism is a core tenet is freedom of association, the belief that you should be able to choose who you don't want to be around, which you can't really do due to the Civil Rights Act at the moment, because it is racist to say, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to, I don't want you in my business. Get the fuck out of here. And then like you get like suited into the fucking ground, right? So then kick his ass out. out. And also, these Mexican drug markets would not be a problem under a true anarcho-capitalist society, where essentially it's decriminalized. It would allow them to get better. It would allow them to become safer, and it would also allow them to not have fucking fentanyl in them. So then the junkies would be more safe.
You use the law as a deterrent. You don't just shrug your shoulders and say, no, live and let live, Darwin Award, because the inevitable result of the libertarian policy isn't just people doing what they want. It's state-subsidized suicide.
Yeah, dude, the libertarians, we're just going to have a lot of state-subsidized things, you know. We libertarians, we love the state. We love subsidizing things through the state. The state is just so heckin' based. It's based in red-pilled.
So look at what happens when these policies get enacted that they are so in supportive of. You don't get a free market of drugs if you were to just legalize everything. What they want is something called safe injection sites. I argued with this guy before. I think it was on Discord. This was years ago. I wasn't even doing YouTube. I don't even really remember who he was or what it was. I just remember this conversation. But anyways, he said we need to have safe injection sites. He wanted everyone, like the taxpayer, to pay for basically overdose facilities. I've had libertarians seriously argue that this is a good solution. It's places where junkies can go, shoot up safely, and if they overdose, a medical professional paid for by your tax dollars hits them with Narcan so they can wake up and do it again tomorrow.
I know this is such a fucking tired point, but also some random bitch you spoke to on Discord who was like a fucking leftist like 10 years ago, right? I was like, yeah, we need safe injection sites. And it's like, yeah, dude, this guy's a libertarian, even though he supports fucking more state-funded shit. He supports the expansion of the state, which no libertarian would say. This is not a no true Scotsman. This guy, it's not even a Scotsman at all. Trying to say that, we need more subsidized things. This guy just isn't a libertarian. Like, that's the truth of the matter, okay? That's like somebody saying that if it's like Jimmy talks like, yeah, dude, this guy's a fucking commie, and then some communist was like, yeah, he's just not a communist at all because he supports like fucking capitalism or some shit, right? It's just, I don't know, man.
That is not liberty. That is just the state aiding and abetting the destruction of its own people. That's absolutely fucking insane to me.
Yeah, dude, libertarians love the state, dude. Like, are you actually, I'm not trying to be rude to you, but are you actually fucking retarded? Like, are you actually retarded? Yeah, dude, libertarians, they love the fucking state. What the fuck? Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, are we actually fucking serious?
But we don't live in that. We don't live in a perfect textbook. We live in modern America. A totally free market in a country like this never works out the way that they promise it would. Basically, it always ends in one of two ways. Either the government and the corporations collude together through backroom deals and lobbying to crush the little guy, like small family businesses in Main Street, and it ends up being all about Wall Street instead, or the market gets so insane that one massive monopoly ends up running the whole entire country anyways.
First of all, under true libertarian theory and like the true libertarian ideology, the belief would be that the state shouldn't fucking exist. The state is a blight on society, that it just shouldn't exist, right? And additionally, the monopolies are created by they're like, those two things are symptoms of one another, okay? So monopolies are created by big corporations, them getting the government to regulate the market to fuck with the little guy. So without a state, that's not a problem. And also without the state, the monopolies don't happen because there's nobody to fucking overregulate the market to fuck with everybody.
So the fact of the matter is we need regulations. Not the shitty excessive red tape that we have now. Of course, there's an argument to be made there. There's nuance to everything, right? But regulations to prevent slave labor factories from undercutting American workers and importing H-1Bs.
Yeah, dude, libertarians just actually love fucking slavery, dude. Libertarians are just very pro-slavery. They love the ownership of literal fucking people, you know, we just love it.
And to prevent distinct moral hazards is kind of needed, you know. But ultimately, it comes down to a deeper rot, and that is the banking system. Now on this, I actually agree with libertarians on the diagnosis big time. Like, we need sound money. I'm all about precious metals. I'm always talking about it, especially if you follow me on Twitter, you know I am. We need to return to precious metals. The Federal Reserve is a criminal organization. Totally agree. But the libertarian solution of just let the banks do whatever doesn't work in a fiat-based debt economy. The banks don't operate on equity anymore. They operate on debt. That is how the whole country works. That's the American economy. It's all ran off of debt with fake paper money. So the banks don't take a hit if they invest into something and the company fails. They don't care. They throw out loans to anyone who wants them, like student loans, mortgages, business loans. Literally any retard ever can get a loan.
Yeah, that's a fucking problem, dude. And that's literally the whole critique of the current banking system is that it's way too easy to get a fucking loan, which Marxism would just hurt more, which I understand this guy's not a Marxist. He's like a fucking weird, like, authoritarian capitalist, just some fucking retarded shit like that. But anyway, uh, uh, additionally, yeah, a free market economy would not work in current America. I agree, man. But the whole idea is that we need to like fucking destroy America, not like retarded accelerationism where we need to like bomb and like kill kids or whatever to like fucking burn the world to salt the earth, so to speak, right? Not like that, not like Adam Waffen type shit, not like the LARP Waffen, 6-7, but more like we need to get rid of the American state and just create like, a bunch of little city states, which is the anarcho-capitalist belief, is that the best way to ensure human prosperity is to basically create a bunch of little microstates where every single city and little municipality and like the surrounding wildlife is it's its own nation essentially.
We need an economic system that favors the small family business and the farmer and just the local guy. And we need to crush the big banking cartel, not give them more freedom to give predatory loans to the American middle class to destroy it into oblivion.
Well, they would have the freedom to give those loans out. They would not have the freedom to just freely fucking get government subsidies under a libertarian economic model or under the Austrian economic model of free markets because the government wouldn't fuck with the market. They wouldn't offer bailouts to these banks. So therefore, the banks would be disincentivized from just giving fucking loans to fucking dumb buck fuck from Timbuktu, right? Like from like some like literal retard who doesn't know how to speak fucking English. They wouldn't give loans to that guy because he would not be able to pay him back unless some fucking miracle happened, right? So this is again, this guy literally is just demonstrating that he doesn't fucking understand libertarianism. He thinks libertarianism is this weird, like, neoconservative economics where it's like, yeah, we want like a free market, but we still give bailouts to the banks, and then we also want like there to be like nothing. It's just so stupid. Well, with all that further ado, guys, I'm gonna say have a good day, afternoon, or night. And remember, well, also you gotta remember to like and subscribe. I'm a small channel, dude. I need the help. But anyway, like, subscribe, and just remember, have a good day, afternoon, or night. And remember, stay a gamer.